After starting 0 for 12, yes, Rhys Hoskins started a little slow, but last night, 811 feet of combined blasts. Oh, yeah, he's hitting bombs. 2 of them last night. Tony Del Grosso, Kyle Gaffner are both here. I'm Adrian Fedque. We're here to talk about Mr. Hoskins' lymphoma.
Oh, yeah. He's bringing the boom, man. The guy swings a great boomstick, and it's nice to see we got a little pop in this lineup now. Guy can consistently put it in the outfield.
It's fucking exciting. Let's go.
High five.
That was classic. I love that. It was a good
And
game.
I think the funniest thing out of all that was like Odubel Herrera, Mr. Space Cadet, didn't even realize what was going on.
Does he ever? I don't think he does ever know what's going on.
Oh man,
impressive how serious Eflin looked. He didn't even look Hoskins in the eye on the bench. It was pretty impressive.
Yeah, they pulled that off well. He was a stone cold face right there, just passing by him.
Stoic.
So after being hitless in his first 12 at-bats, he's now 3 of his last 5. Batting average, still not over 200, but what do you guys think? What have you seen so far from him? Obviously very, very early, but, what do you think?
I mean, he's put up great at-bats. I don't think he's intimidated at the plate. He seems comfortable, calm, cool, and collected. He's got a nice short swing. Can really put the powers is definitely going to come, and we saw it. I wasn't worried because he starts off slow at every affiliate he's went to. He started off a little slow, but then he gets comfortable, and then he puts in work. And we've seen that since he's been with the Phillies. It was just going to take a matter of time.
I agree with everything Kyle just said there. Even in his first 12 at-bats, he didn't have anything to show for it, but he looked good. His first game was against DeGrom, and you could tell DeGrom's one of the best handful of pitchers in the league, and he wasn't overmatched. Even at, 24, I think, I feel like he's already the most polished hitter on the team. That's not saying a ton because there's not many good hitters on the team, but still impressive for a 24-year-old on a big league club. He has a short, powerful stroke. He's going to get on base a ton. He's going to hit for a pretty decent average, and he's going to hit for a ton of power. I mean, there's really nothing not to like from Rhys Hoskins. He's even proved that if he has to, he could play at least capable left field. We'll call it capable. But he's definitely the first baseman of the future.
Yeah, Kyle brings up the point of starting slow at every level, and something about that Ricky Batalico was saying last night on the 215 Live podcast. So we asked him, why was Hoskins starting slow, but Nick Williams able to hit it right from the jump? And he's just like, some guys just handle it differently. Some guys put more pressure on themselves, and that's obviously what Hoskins must be doing if he struggles at every freaking level to start, at least.
But he comes off real strong once he does struggle.
Those were bombs last night. Those were bombs.
They were not cheap shots, yeah.
In Petco Park.
All right.
Whew. In Petco Park, so, once he comes home, those are going to be out Ashburn Alley. I mean, it's great because this was the best power bat we've had in the affiliates in our minor league system. So he's finally up with the big club. We've been waiting for this. We got some pop in this lineup, and I think he's here to stay. He is playing out of position. He played it out in college a little bit, and when he got into Williamsport, he played it a little bit there. But he's capable of playing out there. We had to get him up here somehow. You couldn't have him keep getting blocked from Tommy Joseph. So it's great to see the young kid up here and producing.
Yeah, I know this is kind of lofty, but he's probably the best power hitting prospect since Ryan Howard. I mean, we both agree with that?
Yeah, definitely.
And that's saying something because Ryan Howard was really fucking good.
He's outstanding. I hope he can put the numbers up Howard did. I think he's obviously going to hit for better average. He's got a better eye. But it's just amazing how he's got he just battles. I mean, he works the count into his favor, and he gets it to where he wants to put the ball, and he can spray it all over the place. Left field, right field. I mean, the guy's just a phenomenal talent. And it's kind of weird because we got him in the 5th round just like we got Ryan Howard. So is it a storybook ending? Let's hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's somehow been under the radar, really up until this past year with Phillies fans, just because, like you said, he was a 5th-round pick, and there's really nothing exciting about him other than he fucking hits bombs all the time.
Mhm.
So yeah, he might be a boring player. He might not be the guy who's gonna be making headlines for doing God knows what, but he's gonna be a hell of a ball player in the middle of the lineup, I think, for a long time.
What's his home run potential? How many blasts do you think he can hit a year?
And I'm saying 35, at least.
Yeah,
Like average? Yeah, 35 average.
At least, yeah, 35.
That's 35, 40 plus. Yeah.
Yeah. Can he hit 50?
I think he has the potential to hit 50. I would say maybe 2 years, 3 years from now, he could possibly be hitting 50 bombs. Just because he's got such a short stroke and the way he can act on the ball and just hack it out of the field. I mean, it's a really, really nice swing. I mean, it kind of reminds you remember Chase Utley's swing, how short and compact it was, the way he could it's just Utley's swing with 10 times more power to it.
Yeah, and a significantly bigger man too.
Yeah.
I think he could hit 50. He has the potential there for sure. If he's getting 600 at bats, yeah. I mean, this guy's really the limit with him. He's a guy who could potentially hit 300, on base 400, slugging 500. There's not many 3-4 guys out there. I know a couple weeks ago, I think it was Kyle, you compared him to Paul Goldschmidt.
Mm-hmm.
If he ever gets anywhere close to Paul Goldschmidt, then we have an absolute stud. Because Paul Goldschmidt is probably the 3rd best player in baseball. So, yeah, there's absolutely nothing not to love about Rhys Hoskins. And I think, to me, what might be the most impressive out of anything that I've seen the past few days is he's a little more athletic than I realized. He's not a complete statue out there. I mean, he's not going to steal bases or anything like that, but he's an athlete.
Yeah, he moves pretty well out in the outfield,
Yeah.
Definitely. And, since 2016, he's hit the most homers in the minor leagues out of anybody down there. That's Dylan Cousins included. So if this guy can put up at least 30 to 35 home runs a year, this is the potential we were looking for. This is what we expected kind of out of Maikel Franco. Maybe this takes some pressure off Maikel now for Rhys to really put the bombs in the seats.
Yeah.
6'4", 225. That's a big boy. He's hitting 176 right now. It's only 5 games, but 176, 333 on base, 529 slugging, 863 OPS. So what's the question now? So is he the most exciting prospect in the system? Is he going to be the one that is he going to be the one that sells the jerseys if he's hitting all these bombs?
I think so. I think this was the game-changing prospect, and we've talked about this in shows before, that he was the guy in the system that really had the potential to become a superstar, if anybody. Because you really look at it, everybody loves to see offense. He can hit home runs. Those are the guys that really sell jerseys.
Yeah, like the saying, chicks dig long ball. Well, in truth, everyone digs a long ball. And this guy's really fun with it. A guy who could potentially hit 300 on base 4.
I don't know what that was all about. That was weird.
Yeah,
we're good.
We good now? Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird. We had like an echo there for a second, but keep going.
I think he's going to be a boring superstar, but I mean that in the best of ways.
Yeah.
Almost.
Well, can you really be boring though if you're hitting 40 bombs?
Nah.
Well, I mean boring personality-wise.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's kind of like that Paul Goldschmidt comparison that you always like to make.
Yeah. Yeah, Goldie isn't really the most eccentric player out there. He's not really in your face. He's kind of like a quiet superstar. A lot of people don't know about Goldie because he plays in Arizona and he's not really in your face type of superstar. That's why I just see it happening for Rhys Hoskins.
All right, let's move on to Aaron Nola now. He's been killing it. Now, I know we don't care about the record, but 7-3 over his last 10 starts with a 1.30 ERA. So what are you guys seeing? What is he doing now that he wasn't doing before?
Staying healthy. And he's always had control of his pitches. I think he's just got better command of his pitches. He's really jacked up his fastball a lot more. He's amped it up to around 93. I know when he was coming out, it was like 89, 91, nothing too crazy. It's about average. So he's amped that up a little bit. He's gotten better. That curve looks amazing. That's why he's been putting up the type of strikeouts that he has. He's gotten his fastball going, starting it off with the fastball, and that curveball has been outstanding. So if he can get a third secondary pitch, maybe like a changeup like a Cole Hamels had, he could potentially be a top of the inning starter. I mean, number one starter that we didn't think he would be.
Yeah, to me, it's kind of a combination of three things. Like kind of Kyle said. Yeah, he's just hitting his spots more consistently than he had been in the past. That's for sure. He seems to just be, not that he didn't know how to pitch before, but I think he's truly figured out how to like pitch in the big leagues now. Like he knows how to set guys up. He's been around the league now a few times. He knows guys' strengths and weaknesses. And yeah, that curveball has just been much sharper his past, 10, 12 starts now. It's always been good, but it's just really good now. And yeah, he could keep this up. I always thought his potential was more of like a number 3 type guy.
Yeah.
Shit, if he keeps this up, yeah, his potential is unlimited.
Yeah. I definitely think that the location of his pitches is key. When you're nipping on the black, you're nipping those corners, it sets up everything else. And location has always been his thing. Something that Ricky Batalgo, going back to him from last night and the show podcast. So what he was saying was, he just thinks it's just clicking for him right now. You reach a point in your big league career where you're just like, oh shit, I am this good. I am this great. And that confidence just keeps building and building and building.
Yeah.
And he thinks that's what Aaron Nola is going through right now.
Yeah, I could see that. We could see why we took him number 7 overall in the draft, because the guy can pitch, and if he can become an ace for us, that would be outstanding because he looks like he's got the ace potential there. And if he can maintain that fastball, it's going to set up all his other pitches because he's got the command of all his pitches because that's what he is. He hits the corners.
Yeah, I think confidence is definitely another factor there. I think you could probably make the argument that confidence is one of the most underrated things across the board in sports, really for any position. So yeah, he knows that he can and will get the guy who's standing at the plate out now. Before, maybe a few months ago, it was like, all right, I think I can, but I don't know I can. Now he knows he can.
Especially for a pitcher, that's a huge position with, having mentality. That's a lot of mental game right there, being a pitcher.
And hitters sense that too. Like hitters are, like sharks. They sense weakness and shit. So
I take advantage of it for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this about Aaron Nola. I'd rather have a guy that throws in the low 90s and nips the corners than a guy that throws 100 and doesn't have control.
Yeah, absolutely. All the day. Look at Vincent Velasquez, perfect example. Guy can throw a little bit of heat and just has no control, and we've seen what that's done to his career so far.
And the way that's hitters up, that 92 looks like 99 right now.
Yeah, it does. It looks like it's got a lot more movement than it actually does.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the way he's holding it, if he's got a certain grip on it, but it's coming out of his – and he's got a really weird arm slot. So that really helps it. I think it's an advantage to him because it's a low-angled arm slot, and it's harder for a hitter to really see that coming out of there.
Yeah, that's a good point. He does have a unique slot that hitters don't see very often. I mean, off the top of my head, I can't really even think of another right-hander who comes at that angle. It is pretty unique.
Now that's got me thinking. I'm not going to try and think because I'll think for 10 minutes and not say anything. So I won't, but maybe after the show. All right, I want to move on to Odubel Herrera now. So we saw another blunder recently. But he's freaking raking. He's hitting like 340 plus since June. But another base running blunder. Kyle, I'll let you take that one away.
Oh, so frustrating to see. And I'm happy for El Torito that he's finally getting into a groove. He signed that contract last year or the year before that? A decent-sized contract, but he's been raking. But the guy doesn't seem to know what to do once he gets on base. He seems a little confused these days, looking in the stars. I don't know what he's doing, but he needs to concentrate on the base pass. So the game the other night, okay, bases are juiced. We're waiting. They hit a pop fly. Freddie's on third. Odubel's on second. So everybody's ready to tag up. You expect Freddie to go home. Well, he doesn't, but Odubel doesn't seem to notice that and starts running full speed right at Freddie. It's not like anybody was blocking Freddie Galvis. He didn't move an inkling. and he just ran right next to him and stood there. Didn't even try to run away from the third baseman, and they just tagged him.
That's what I thought was funny. He didn't even try to get in a rundown. He was just like, fuck, I fucked up.
It's like, all right, whatever, I'm out. Okay, so we went from, bases juiced with no outs to first and third with 2 outs. It was such a blunder, and this isn't the first time Abdubal's had issues on the base path.
I don't know where to begin. Listen, I it's frustrating as hell. It really is. But at the same time, it makes me laugh because the team's gonna win 65 games this year, so it doesn't really matter. If he's doing this in a couple years, and if he's still on the team in a couple years, they haven't traded him, and they're in the middle of a pennant race, it's gonna be a lot more frustrating. But right now, I mean, I kind of look at it as remember when Manny Ramirez did shit like that? It was, that's Manny being Manny.
That's what Ricky Bo said last night. Odubel being Odubel.
Yeah, it's kind of like they're just Odubel being Odubel. I mean, I'm not trying to compare him to Manny Ramirez, but
well, the actions are similar.
Yes, the actions are similar.
I mean, if he's gonna keep hitting the ball in the gap every other at bat and make great plays in the outfield, I could deal with, some boneheaded mistakes every now and then. I just hope they decrease as the importance of the games goes on.
Yeah. Do you think that this has anything to do with just him not believing in Pete Mackanin?
That's a good question, because even when Abdubel does do something like this, Pete doesn't make a peep. He just sits there with his arms crossed. And I figure with an old school guy like that coming from the old school game, he would be all up in his face screaming at him. But it doesn't seem like he even cares. He just sits there and does nothing. So I would like for him to get up in Abdubel's face, but maybe those two kind of clash. Would you say this kind of takes away from him hitting, like getting on base? He's on a 17-game hitting streak, so him getting on base, it's kind of taken away from it, because if he's just going to get out like that, it's taken away from him getting on. What is his on base percentage? It's something insane.
It's 100 in the past month or so, I think.
I mean, he's been on fire. I mean, 17-game hitting streak. It's a new record for him. But I feel like it's getting taken away from him getting on the base path if he's just gonna run the third base when there's somebody on there and don't even attempt to move.
I think Mackanin is almost at the point where Herrera's just got to figure it out himself. You know what I mean? You could only tell a grown man to do something so many times. Like, what's the phrase with the horse in the water? You can only lead a horse to water. You can't make him drink, whatever, something like that. You know what I mean? Like, and the thing about it, like we were talking off camera, when Herrera does the stuff like not running out to first base and it seems like he's not hustling, that's just more frustration out of Herrera. It's not like Herrera doesn't play hard. Like, he's diving out there. He's doing his best. He just has these mental farts that makes him look – I mean, he probably doesn't know what city he's in half the time, but that's fine as long as he's hitting the ball.
He has the IQ of Vince Young.
The space cadet. There comes that word again. He's one of those guys. But there's been a lot of space cadets who have turned out to be hella ball players, so I'm fine with it for now.
I'll take it as long as you keep raking. But goddamn, dude, like at some point, get in the fucking game.
Yeah,
all right,
pay attention.
Get in the fucking game. Get your head out of your fucking ass.
Well, and it's also a reflection on, like, who's the veteran presence in the clubhouse right now? Freddie Galvis? Like, really? Come on. Freddie Galvis. Like, if Freddie Galvis comes up to Herrera and is like, dude, you got to stop doing this shit, Herrera's going to be like, yeah, okay, bro, and going to forget about it 2 minutes later. They don't have a guy in there who has really any presence about him. Yeah. And that includes Mackanin and, even Larry Boa wants him well, Morandini. Like, Herrera doesn't even know who the fuck those guys are. Herrera probably doesn't even know that Larry Boa used to play for the Phillies.
Oh, he definitely doesn't know that.
Like, he doesn't understand that stuff. So, It is what it is. Just let him hit the ball and catch the ball.
And maybe he figures Pete Mackanin's on his way out after possibly this season anyway, so he'll just have a new skipper in there anyway.
And I might maybe
he figures he can get away with it.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to Nick Williams. He's still playing pretty well.
Yes, he is. Go ahead, Tony. You take this one.
I don't know what to say. Yeah, he's still hitting the ball. He's still getting on base. I think his on base is like 350, and his slugging is over 500 still. And he's probably had roughly, I don't know, 75, 100 at bats now.
Yeah. Do you feel confident? Because I know you were kind of questioning whether you thought he was going to kind of taper off a little bit as the bats went on. Do you have confidence in him now? Do you think he'll be able to maintain this level of play?
I mean, I do think he's still going to taper off a little bit, but maybe not quite as much as I thought. Maybe he figured it out more than I realized, so to speak. I'm just enjoying the ride right now because right now, he looks like a good ball player. Am I still convinced he's definitely one of the 3 outfielders of the future? No, but every day I see him, he's helping his cause for sure. It's just there's a lot of guys in the minor leagues right now who, if I had a gun to my head, I would say has more potential.
There's like 6 of them.
There's so many.
But again,
a lot of
obviously a lot of those guys are going to fail too, and Williams is just keep doing his thing. I mean, he's only going to get he's what, 22, so
he's young.
He's at 152 plate appearances, 136 at bats.
Oh, that's more than I thought.
And he's maintained it, but you've noticed I've noticed after the past 3 games, he's starting to struggle a little bit at the plate. He's not seeing the off-speed pitches as well. He's starting to chase outside a little bit, but that's going to happen. Like you said, he's going to taper off a little bit, but he's still getting on base. He's still playing really hard. He plays really good defense, but he deserves to be in this lineup as of now because nobody's really pushing him for that job just yet.
Yeah, he's undoubtedly going to hit a slump eventually. All players do, even great ball players. It's just a matter of how he comes out of that slump, how he adjusts. And we might not really see that until next year at this point, because there's only, 5 or 6 weeks left. Yeah. So,
that's the thing. That's the thing. You have to be able to adjust when that adversity hits. Like it happens all the time. Cole Hamels is like an example I like giving all the time because you had 2008 happen with the World Series. The next season, he was terrible. And then he adds the cutter. The cutter kind of changed the game for him. He's got the curveball now. So he was able to adjust back. So it's almost like you can't even judge a guy until he does struggle and you want to see how he adjusts to everything.
Mm-hmm.
Dominic Brown, perfect example. Freaking killed it. And then he got figured out real quick and he didn't even play it.
Yeah, there's a Hall of Famer. I forget who. I want to say like Andre Dawson or Ernie Banks, but they were quoted as saying baseball should be called adjustments, not baseball.
Yeah, good. I like that.
I like that too, and that's a perfect example because you do have to adjust in the game of baseball. It's a lot of mental, and then it's a lot of adjusting to other players.
I mean, you look at the great guys like Mike Trout. He'll adjust in the middle of an at bat and hit a ball out to center field. So,
Vladdy Guerrero too. He was another great guy that could just adjust when he was up at the plate. I mean, I think he was one of the purest, best hitters I've ever seen play.
Yeah,
he could hit a ball out an inch off the dirt.
He wasn't he the one that hit? It bounced off the dirt and he still hit it for a single. That was him, right?
Yeah, he was a bad hitter. Incredible, and I heard his son's even better. So we'll see him with Toronto coming up with the next 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes me feel old that his son's about to be in a big league.
I know, it's terrible.
All right, I got nothing else on the agenda, but we went longer than I thought we'd go, so that's great. I thought we'd only go 10 minutes, So, final thoughts time.
Final thoughts, real quick. Not that it's going to happen. Mike Stanton has been on fire, and he has come out and said he's cleared waivers. I doubt that he's going to leave the Marlins. But if he possibly does, he said he would like to play in the Philly Stadium because all the bombs he could hit here. So I pose this question to y'all. If we do happen to trade for him, do you really think they'd even consider us? Because they already have a great outfield, and we have a plethora of outfield prospects. So who do we really have to give up to land a Mike Stanton? Would you like to see him in the lineup with a Rhys Hoskins? I mean, imagine that back-to-back combo with power with John
Carlo lineup. It's amazing.
I mean, if you could give him a package where you're keeping Hoskins, you're keeping Crawford, and you're keeping the young pitchers down in single A, like Sanchez and those guys, then I would probably do it because he's still only, 27, I think?
Yeah, he's still young. And we've seen what they've gotten for premier hitters for J.D. Martinez. I mean, obviously he's a better player than those guys, but it doesn't seem like there's a premium on guys that can really hit the ball. It seems like it's on pitchers and not really.
Well, wouldn't they not have to give up as much because of the contract?
That would have to come into play. I would.
Yes, absolutely.
See, but they're in an ownership change, though. So I feel like it would have to wait until the offseason if something like that would happen.
Yeah,
you're right. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. With Jeter and stuff. And I can't see
Loria is like the Donald Sterling of baseball.
Yeah, he is.
Well, he's about to. Jeter and his crew are about to buy it.
Jeter and Jordan, I heard.
Yeah.
So there you go. All right. Tony's final thoughts now, since that led to a topic, basically. Thanks, Kyle.
I don't know. Just enjoy Hoskins. Just enjoy a young, homegrown power hitter in the middle of the lineup for the first time in really 10 years, basically.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
All right. Just don't get Hoskins lymphoma. That's my final thought. All right. Kyle Gaffner, Tony Del Grosso, I'm Adrian FedQ. We're out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Phillies, baby!
Yeah!